As you can tell from the title, today we're looking at the cost of getting lean. Is it worth it? By the end of this video, you should walk away understanding or at least figuring it out for yourself. Is it worth the cost for you to get lean? Because a lot of people, when they first start working out, going to the gym, or getting on a diet plan, or they hire a personal trainer or coach, the goal is to get lean, to look toned, to get sculpted, to build muscle, and to get abs. That is typically what the average person is desiring when they first start working out. So today, what we want to do is really be honest with where we are and maybe help calibrate what it means to be lean. Is it worth it for you? Is that what you really, really want? Because there's a price to pay. And a lot of people don't talk about this, but there is a price to pay. And what you find is a lot of times you walk into a gym, you open social media, wherever you are, everyone is talking about getting lean. And so what we'll do is we'll talk briefly about what it means to get lean, what it actually means in the real world. Because as we know, leanness is a dependent, there's a spectrum, there's a scale as to what being lean actually means. So we'll look at that. And then from there, we'll also talk about what's actually going on right now. So we'll also talk about GLP-1s. I've got a bit more information on GLP-1s, and we'll also review kind of what's going on because I believe there's a real epidemic when it comes to GLP-1s. And a lot of people are not discussing, or I mean, it's maybe for me, it's just so obvious because I've also worked in on the other side with drug companies and looking at the real world claims for these GLP-1s and understanding what it takes for it to be considered like a medication that humans can take so that it's approved for people to take. So I want to share a bit of that perspective and just going back to the actual data, what the actual data says about GLP-1s. And GLP-1s, I'm talking about your Ozempic, Tirzepatide, your Reta, and some of these GLP-1 agonist drugs, they have a use case, but it seems like a lot of people are trying to overextend that use. And that is something, if you've considered, if you've considered taking any weight loss medication, taking any GLP-1s, taking any peptides, if you've considered that, you need to watch this video till the end because it's probably going to save your life. It's going to save your health. And maybe if you know someone who's already taking it, might solve their health too. So let's look into it. Let's look into a show. So I also have a blog. So we're going to be reviewing a blog post that I actually wrote on this because sometimes, you know, when you're speaking and you're talking on a live stream, a lot of times we you know, there's different thoughts that come at any point. So I just wanted to make sure that we have some sort of like way to follow this so that you don't get lost because sometimes I do like to ramble about different topics and subjects. So we'll look at the blog post and kind of help guide the conversation as well. And I wrote this, it's on my website as well. So we'll use this to kind of guide our conversation as we go through this together. So let us get going. Let us get going. Okay. So I'm pulling this up. So we got, okay, so right there, we've got our topic for today. The cost of getting lean. Is it worth it? Is it worth it, fam? Is it worth it? So, what is the promise? So, most times when we're talking about being lean, we're actually talking about like having visible abs, a sharp definition, low body fat percentages. And a lot of times, what we find is that we don't really focus on the real things when it comes to training because the leanness is one aspect, right? But we don't talk about strength, we don't talk about longevity, we don't talk about resilience. It's always about leanness when you're starting out. So the leaner that your body appears, the more successful the transformation seems to be. So that's one of the things that I think we really have to focus on. And today we really want to talk about the cost. What is the cost? Are you ready to pay the cost? Are you ready? Because if you're not honest with yourself, because this is one of the parts where if you're goal setting, if you're not realistic with your goals, you'll find that the goals that you set are going to be hard to attain because you're not making progress. And when you don't make progress, most times it means that your goals maybe need to be adjusted because they're not realistic based on circumstances, based on your lifestyle, based on where you are in your life. Okay, I think we're back. Okay, we are back. Okay, connection back. I think we had a drop off there. Okay, so connection is back. Okay, so what we want to see is okay, so are we really working with reality? Because a lot of times we set these goals based on what we want to look visually, how we want to look visually. And sometimes we get misled by influencers who also post pictures online. And some of the people are also photoshopping their images and their pictures, and they exaggerate how they look. And a lot of times, when people are talking about being lean, it's sort of like a phase that you go through. It's not really that they want to stay there because they might be trying to get lean for a particular event and they either competing in a bodybuilding show or they have a sport that they're competing in that they need to get in shape for, or they have a wedding or they have some social event that they want to attend and they're looking to drop a couple of pounds because they want to fit into some dress or some suit. So the idea of being lean is not really the final destination for everyone because it takes work to stay there. So we want to look at that. And yeah, and most times like when people post pictures, they're also posting pictures for a specific photo shoot. And I tell you, a lot of people they'll get lean, the people that are like on social media and online, they'll get lean for whatever event that they're getting lean for. And after that, once they get lean, they capture those pictures, they take the pictures, they take as many pictures as they want or as they can. And after that, then they just keep posting those pictures. It's not that they maintain that leanness year round. Same as me, like I've competed in bodybuilding, I've gained weight intentionally just to show that it's possible that you can lose the weight. And I lost the weight 60 pounds in 6 months. And by doing that, like I was just like, okay, this actually works. But I also got to understand for someone who's maybe a little bit overweight, a bit overweight than what they would ideally want to be, that yeah, sure, like your body can make you think that you're not as confident because you're just overweight, it's harder to move, and your clothes maybe don't fit as well, and you kind of look puffy, you look chubby. So there is a definite discomfort that comes with that. And because it comes with that, it doesn't mean that you also have to go like to the other extreme where you get super lean. Sometimes it's just reducing your body fat maybe by 5-10% for you to look good. It's not always about being the most lean person because it is also coming at a cost. It's going to be requiring a lot of work, a lot of discipline, a lot of structure. And sometimes it's hard to sustain for so many years. unless if your genetics also allow and your lifestyle, like the work that you do. And so there are different factors that also come in. So what we want to do is really think about, okay, what does body fat actually contribute to our health? Because sometimes we talk about being lean because we think that fat is the enemy. We think that fat is the enemy. But we need to realize that fat has a very specific function. So if you caught the other stream last week when we talked about how fats contribute to cell production and also your hormones, excuse me, and your hormones. So those are different uses for fat in your body. So you want to make sure that if you are going to lose weight or cut fat and burn fat, you're also making sure that your body functions are not getting compromised. Because the moment you compromise and don't eat enough fat in your diet, you're going to have to pay a cost. You're going to pay a price. You're going to pay a price. So we want to make sure that we are eating enough and we are being healthy about our diet and our expectations when it comes to losing weight and becoming lean. So some of the things that we will cover is your hormone production, how fat contributes to those biological processes. And we often ignore these because we just want to achieve this aesthetic goal. So we've got a hormone production, temperature regulation, energy storage, immune resilience, and reproductive health. So these are core processes that are supported by body fat. And the moment you compromise or you try get too lean, you are paying the price. And one of these processes, biological processes, are actually suffering because you want to get lean. So most of the times we we think that whatever we're doing the best thing for us. So like I said, like getting lean is temporary by design, right? So you want to look at being lean as a temporary mechanism